Welcome to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show. We are live with the wonderful Jessica, and Pat is on the road driving like a madman trying to get home in time to jump in here. I don't think he's going to make it, do you?
I'm going to put money on no. I'd put that $1. What do you guys bet each time? $1?
I never bet more than a dime.
A dime.
A dime. So,
well, I just raised the ante. I'm going to say $1 is not going to make it.
You're going to be in a category all by yourself then. But so he's he may join us, may not. That just kind of happens. You know, you live by the tech. His mother had knee surgery up at Sun City today, so he's been up there. He's been sitting around waiting to talk to the doctor, so he says, you know, he'll be right out. So he's waiting another 45 minutes. So driving him crazy. But I was looking at data, which is my little fun thing to do. I remember probably about 3 years ago, I asked Tina Tambor, we got to have her on as a guest once. And I said, you know, it's been my experience that when the market's hot, the last things that go up in price are condos, but when they turn, condos are the first things that go down in price. And she pushed back and said, no, I don't agree. And which I was okay with that because she's certainly been doing this as far as analytics a lot longer than me, but that's what I'm seeing right now. And I'm seeing right here, which is our listing success rate by calendar month. And if I pull out my handy dandy magnifying glass, I don't have one on this browser, but right here, we are sitting at a listing success rate for everything at 66%. Now, if I filter everything out except for condos, so we had 66%. Condos were down to 59%, 57%. So condos are about 10% harder to move when it comes to listing success rate. And their months of supply is higher, not by much, but you had a townhome listed condo in Chandler a few months back. What did you find out about that one when you went back and kind of looked at the history?
Yeah, we were talking earlier and I said, let's go pull that condo. So last year we listed towards the end of the market trend in May and didn't have a ton of showings, took it off market, staged it, put it back on market, I want to say August, and dropped the price and had limited viewing, but did get a contract, sold it. And I thought this was interesting. So I went back into the data just today into that neighborhood and the price, let me switch over to the price per square foot. Can you guys see that one?
Well, barely, but.
Barely. Okay. So let's just talk.
We're on radio.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. So last August, so 6 months ago, condos in this towns, it was a Chandler complex. The 1,400, 1,500 square foot larger condos were selling in the high 300s, 375 to 399. And they are now sitting on market. We've got one, where are we at? Active listings right here. We've got one at 325, 335, 336, 345. The highest one in there is 345 and it's been on the market 64 days at I mean, we're almost $40,000 less than 6 months ago.
Well,
of course,
yeah, Jessica, I think the reason for that is when the market's really going crazy, people are jumping into condos because they think that that's all they can afford. They're not going to have a chance to own real estate. So they get into something that they can qualify with. When the market starts going the other way, they sit back and wait more, and then people are having a hard time selling their condos because nobody's as interested in getting one as they were when the market was brisk.
Very true. Dialed in. And on top of it, interest rates are lower, property values, single family stuff's come down. So they've got those options out there now, which, they just didn't, a couple of years ago.
Our active listings for our total market here is above last year. We're at 24,865 last year. We are at 23,000. 22,757. So I think we're going to hit between 27,000 and 28,000. Now, they used to say that, 27,000 was considered normal, but you can't use that anymore because our population has grown so much. So, we may hit 27,000, that'll still be below normal, but it all boils down to, once again, the relationship between supply and demand, which is what I have in my little handy dandy spreadsheet here. And you can see that this is the demand right here, the number of units under contract. And then this is the number of new listings that have come on. And there's a gap there. It's not big. Anytime you have a gap where there's more coming on and not enough capturing it with sales, you're not going to have any upward pricing pressure. That gap's going to have to grow quite a bit for us to see pricing, come flying down. So we're stuck in that. Pat likes to use the word the channel, but I think we're just stuck in a zone, I guess. It says we could be here for a while, waiting for prices to come out or waiting for wages to jump up. And then there's this delinquency rate that came out this morning. This is national. Mortgage delinquency rates by loan type. So the top graph there is FHA, and it's gone up to 11.52%. Now you can see these big spikes up here in the middle here. That's when they shut the country down and everybody stopped paying their mortgages. So then they gave us mortgage forbearance and it started coming down. But it's not really that alarmingly high, to where we're in trouble. In fact, you look at the other loan products, they're about where they've been. So again, nothing comes flying out at us that says that we're in trouble.
Well, and a lot of that, Rick, not to interrupt you, but a lot of that has to do with they hold off. I think they give a little more grace during the holidays. So a lot of those foreclosures that potentially would have been happening in December and the 1st of January are postponed into March, April. So it makes sense that you see those numbers stay higher as they're not, they're not settling into agreements or moving into the different. With FHA, you have to go through that rainfall process and either try to modify, try to catch up on payments, or final verdict is short sale.
Well, this is locally our notice of trustee sales by month. And again, you're not seeing that one spike up much either.
Nope.
464. So we are still, actually, I'd say we're below normal. This is, of course, when everything was shut down. And this was after the big calamity during the silly season, but nothing whacking us up the side of the head there. You look at number of price changes per week. Now they're starting to come up. I think more so than last year. And I say more so cautiously because we were kind of up there here, but that was after interest rates went up. So I think the optimism that people had for January is already starting to fade. And so people are, cutting their price. So a little sooner than I anticipated. But as we get into the latter part of February, I think number of price cuts is going to jump up even further. This is our Cromford Market Index. We have the same sentiment as last year, just tit for tat, right down the road there. So nothing earth-shattering there. And finally here, average list price per square foot. Now, this is encouraging for people that are waiting for prices to come down. You can see that they are listing at a lower price point than last year. I'm going to take out these other years here. Let me filter this out because they were listing higher than last year. Well, they're listed, where are they at now? I'm wrong when I say this. We are lower than 2024. Why the heck are we higher than 2025?
Mm-hmm.
Optimism. So you're going to start seeing price changes come along, and that's going to, I misspoke there when I looked at the chart. So I think nothing's out there yet that says, we're in trouble. There are plenty of things in the economy that are raising their ugly head that are worth watching. But in our localized real estate market, and you got to be careful because even when you just say something as simple as like, I don't see anything that shows that we're going to have a major problem, people accuse you of FOMO.
Not the case.
There's another realtor telling people I got to go out and buy now. I think what we're seeing in the number of I think the marry the house, date the rate people are back in now trying to sell their homes. They're trying to get out. or they're part of the pre-foreclosure. They were convinced that rates were going to come flying down over a 2-year period. And they do, but then they don't. I mean, so it was, that was a heck of a chance to take. And here's our mortgage applications right now. 6.1% is where we're rolling in today. And we had a jobs number, and it showed that Thursday's rate trend was positive. So interest rates were coming down. You can get some 5.95s out there right now. Does that make the market affordable in most areas? Not quite. Some of the outlying areas, actually, it's pretty decent. So, the Amazon package is coming. So, boy, some of those guys are big. So, but so that's what we're seeing.
Buses.
What's that?
I said they drive buses.
And they sneak up on you in those electric cars, So,
I guess it's either or a small Waymo looking car or a giant bus.
I think we've got some CMI data coming out at the end of the week that could move the market, because right now nothing's moving the market. We go in and take over the leader of Venezuela, and the bond market goes, whatever. What are you doing tomorrow? And so we're just not shaking anybody up. Hey, if you want to find out what's going on in your area, see a little QR code up in the corner there. You click on that, you can request a zip code market report, and that gives you all kinds of comprehensive detail for your zip code. And if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, and for the life of me, I don't know why anybody would not, comes out every Monday morning at 7:00, shows you the Crawford Market Index, gives you the commentary, shows you where we're at with mortgages, gives you some commentary on mortgages. But I also have a section there with a real detailed market report that's a lot more than just looking at the, some of the Crawford pages. If you sign up for the zip code report, included in that, twice a month, you will get a market update. And it's pretty extensive. It'll just automatically show up in your inbox. You can type the word stop, unsubscribe, whatever you want at any time. Those are the only times you'll hear from me. As soon as I get your zip code report, I get in, I put it together, I send it out. Then I wait for Crawford to come out with their mid-market report. I reformat it and send it out to you twice a month. And it's been a pretty good read. Although I have noticed that people that get in on the newsletter, there's a great big blue box there that says detailed market analysis. People are not clicking on that. They're just reading the newsletter and moving on. So I want to encourage people, click on it and tell me what you think. And let me know if you think there's anything else I need to add to it. So, but you're busier this year than last year, aren't you, Jessica?
Yeah, actually. And I don't want to brag, but every listing that we've had, except for one, is under contract right now. So, I'm waiting for something to go either way. I've got 3 or 4 in the pipeline. We're getting ready to list. Believe it or not, 3 of those are loft condos. So that being said, maybe, a little bit different inventory. Well, I think 55 and older, we've got it all, a little of everything. So some stuff coming up, a lot of stuff under contract, and we're just going to keep trucking along. The market seems pretty stable and simple, and do the best that we can, just giving you guys advice on what you need to know to make your choices.
Yeah, sellers are still dug in like a tick in a lot of cases, but if you have the right conversation with them, go, look, the market price that you see now is not the market price. That's history. So you can't be there. You're going to have to be below that, and that's a tough pill to swallow, because people you and I were talking the other day about a client had yours, and you said, well, market's showing that it's possibly worth 600,000. She was stuck at that number, but you said,
it's a disappointment. It was a reality check for me on a conversation, because you say, hey, your property was worth this. Here's the data. Can we get it today? No, about that. Can't get it today. You want to sell today? Well, let's read.
Well, cool. Well, Jessica, thanks for joining me. Pat did not make it. I'm sure that's just going to disappoint our millions and millions of fans, that watch us on Thursdays and Fridays. But then again, maybe not. So there we are. Right there we got Dancing Carlton celebrating the fact that Pat did not make it. Until then, I will have a weekly update coming out on Sunday night. And then whether or not I do another live stream next week depends on a lot of fun stuff. Until then, Jessica, have a fantastic weekend.
Okay, you too. You guys take care of yourself. Hey,
See ya.
thanks, Rick. Bye.